The clang of metal doors echoed through the cold corridors of Ironwood State Prison in California, a sound that had become the grim rhythm of Alex Thompson's life for the past 6 months. He had been thrown in here after a bar fight gone wrong, defending himself against a homophobic attack that the courts twisted into aggravated assault. From day one, the other inmates zeroed in on his slight build, soft features, and the way he carried himself, calling him female like it was a punchline, a way to strip him of his dignity in a place where survival meant blending into the macho shadows. Alex kept his head down in the yard, avoiding eye contact as the whispers turned to jeers. "Hey, sweetheart, you lost? Women's block is that way." One burly guy snarled, eliciting laughs from the crowd. He clenched his fists, biting back the urge to snap, knowing it would only make things worse. But deep down, the labels cut deeper than any fist. They echoed the rejection he'd faced his whole life, from a conservative family in rural Texas who disowned him at 18 for coming out, to the string of failed relationships where partners saw him as too effeminate to take seriously. Enter Jake Harlan, a towering figure with tattoos snaking up his arms and a rap sheet for armed robbery that screamed, "Don't mess with me." Jake ran with the prison's unofficial enforcers, the kind who enforced the unwritten rules. No weakness, no softness, and definitely no queer stuff. He watched Alex from afar at first, intrigued by the quiet resilience in the young man's eyes amid the constant harassment. One afternoon in the chow hall, when a group cornered Alex and started shoving him around, Jake stepped in without thinking. "Back off," he growled, his voice low and commanding. The others froze, surprised by the intervention from one of their own. Alex looked up, his heart pounding, expecting another layer of mockery. But Jake just nodded curtly and walked away, leaving Alex to wonder what the hell that was about. Over the next weeks, their paths crossed more often. In the library where Alex buried himself in books to escape, or during rec time when Jake would linger nearby, his presence a silent shield. Conversations started small. "You read a lot, huh?" Jake asked one day, flipping through a dog-eared novel Alex had left on the table. "Helps me forget where I am," Alex replied, guarded but grateful for the normalcy. As days blurred into nights, Jake found himself drawn to Alex's stories, of growing up in a town where being gay meant being invisible or worse, of chasing dreams in Los Angeles only to end up here. Jake shared bits of his own past, a rough childhood in Detroit, absent parents, and a life of crime born from desperation rather than malice. "I never thought I'd be protecting someone like you," Jake admitted one evening in the dimly lit cell block, his voice barely above a whisper. Alex's pulse quickened. Someone like me carried the weight of all the slurs he'd endured. The tension built slowly, like a storm gathering on the horizon. In prison, alliances were fragile, and Jake's growing protectiveness didn't go unnoticed. Whispers turned to accusations. "Harlan's gone soft for the ferry." One night, a confrontation erupted in the showers. An inmate named Ruiz, known for his brutal temper, cornered Alex. "You think you're safe 'cause of your boyfriend?" he sneered, shoving Alex against the wall. Before Alex could react, Jake burst in, tackling Ruiz to the ground. Fists flew, guards intervened, and both ended up in solitary for a week. In the isolation of his cell, Alex replayed the scene, his mind racing with confusion and a budding warmth he hadn't felt in years. Why would Jake risk everything? When they were released, Jake sought him out. "I couldn't let them hurt you," he said, his eyes fierce. "Not anymore." It was the first crack in Jake's armor, revealing a man who'd buried his own attractions under layers of denial, shaped by a world that equated masculinity with heterosexuality. Their bond deepened through stolen moments, notes passed under doors, shared glances across the yard. Alex challenged Jake's views. "You think protecting me makes you less of a man? Or does it scare you because it means admitting something about yourself?" Jake wrestled with it, his internal conflict raging. He'd always played the tough guy, but Alex saw through it, pulling at threads of vulnerability. Society's shadows loomed large even behind bars. The prison system, rife with homophobia, turned a blind eye to violence against females like Alex, while punishing any hint of genuine connection. Rumors spread, fueling more harassment. One day, during a family visit Jake never got, he confessed, "My old man beat the weak out of me. Said real men don't feel like this." Alex reached out, their hands brushing in a moment charged with unspoken emotion. But conflict escalated when the warden caught wind of the unnatural alliance. Segregation threats hung over them, a reminder of how the system reinforced divisions. Alex faced a choice: pull away to protect Jake, or fight for what felt real. "We're not breaking rules," Alex argued in a heated whisper. "We're just human." The drama intensified as allies emerged, a few inmates who saw beyond the labels, inspired by Jake's defiance. Yet betrayal lurked. Ruiz plotted revenge, rallying others against the pair. In a yard brawl, Jake took a shank meant for Alex, the wound superficial but the intent deadly. As medics hauled him away, Jake locked eyes with Alex. "Worth it." Recovery brought clarity. Jake confronted his feelings. "I broke the rules for you because I couldn't pretend anymore. You're not female. You're the strongest person I know." Alex, tears welling, replied, "And you're not the monster they say. You're my anchor." The aftermath of the yard incident rippled through Ironwood like a shockwave, amplifying the divides that already fractured the inmate population. Jake's wound healed, but the scar served as a constant reminder of the risks they were taking. Alex visited him in the infirmary whenever he could slip past the guards, their conversations laced with a newfound urgency. "You could have died," Alex whispered, his voice trembling with the weight of unspoken fears. Jake managed a weak smile. "Better me than you. I've got nothing to lose." But Jake did have something to lose. His parole hearing loomed in 3 months, a chance at freedom that could vanish if the warden painted him as a troublemaker involved in deviant behavior. The prison grapevine buzzed with speculation. Was Jake's protection just loyalty, or something more? In a place where vulnerability was a death sentence, admitting attraction could mean isolation or worse. Alex grappled with guilt, wondering if his presence was dragging Jake down. "Maybe I should back off," he suggested one night, staring at the concrete floor. Jake's response was fierce. "Don't you dare. This is the first real thing I've felt in years." Outside pressures mounted as well. Alex's sister, the only family member who hadn't abandoned him, wrote letters urging caution. "Prisons aren't kind to people like you," she warned, her words a stark echo of societal norms that viewed gay relationships as aberrations, especially in hypermasculine environments. Jake, meanwhile, received no mail. His past had burned those bridges, but he imagined his estranged brother scoffing at the rumors. "He'd call me weak," Jake confided, his voice cracking. Alex squeezed his hand under the table. "Weakness isn't loving someone, it's hiding from it." The plot thickened when Ruiz, released from solitary, began a subtle campaign of intimidation. Notes appeared in Alex's cell. "Your boyfriend can't save you forever." Paranoia set in, eroding the fragile trust building between them. During a group therapy session mandated by the prison, a farce where inmates recited platitudes about rehabilitation, Ruiz cornered Jake. "You're throwing away your shot for that freak?" he hissed. Jake's temper flared. "He's more man than you'll ever be." The exchange nearly sparked another fight, but a guard intervened, logging it as tension between inmates. Amid the chaos, moments of tenderness emerged, stolen in the shadows. In the laundry room during work detail, Jake pulled Alex aside. "I never thought I'd say this, but you make this hell bearable." Alex's heart swelled, but doubt lingered. Was this real, or just survival? He voiced it. "What happens when you're out? Will you forget me?" Jake's eyes softened. "I'll fight for us on the outside too." Social conflicts amplified the drama. The prison's underground hierarchy, dominated by gangs enforcing rigid gender roles, viewed their bond as a threat. "It challenges everything," an older inmate named Marcus confided to Alex, a rare voice of reason who'd served time for fraud. Marcus had seen similar stories end in tragedy. Beatings, transfers, even suicides. "Society out there ain't much better," he added, referencing recent news of anti-LGBT legislation in several states. Alex nodded, the weight pressing down. "But if we don't stand up, who will?" A turning point came during a lockdown after an unrelated riot. Confined to cells, Jake and Alex communicated through vents, sharing dreams of a life beyond bars. Maybe a quiet apartment in San Francisco, where they could be themselves without judgment. "I'd take you to the ocean," Jake murmured. "Watch the waves, no walls." Alex laughed softly. "I'd hold your hand. No hiding." The intimacy deepened their resolve, but also heightened the stakes. When lockdown lifted, Ruiz struck. He rallied a small group to ambush Alex in the gym, where weights clattered like warnings. Blows landed before Jake arrived, alerted by Marcus. The fight was brutal, fists, shouts, blood on the floor. Jake took down 2 attackers, but not before Alex suffered a broken rib. In the chaos, a guard sympathetic to the enforcers looked the other way, highlighting the systemic bias that protected the aggressors. In the infirmary again, Alex confronted Jake. "This has to stop. They're using me to get to you." Jake's face hardened. "No, we're in this together." But internally, Jake battled demons, flashbacks to his abusive father, who equated emotion with femininity. "Am I becoming what I hate?" he wondered silently. As parole approached, Jake faced a dilemma. Deny the relationship to secure freedom, or own it and risk denial. Alex urged honesty. Lying now means lying forever. The hearing loomed like a judgment day, with witnesses including Ruiz, who twisted facts to portray Jake as unstable. The day arrived. In the sterile room, Jake sat before the board. "I've changed," he stated, his voice steady. When questioned about recent incidents, he paused, glancing at Alex in the back, aloud as a fellow inmate witness. "I protected a friend because it's right. Labels don't define us." The board deliberated, tension thick. Alex's heart raced. This could mean separation or solidarity. Outside, society mirrored the prison, debates over transgender rights in corrections, gay inmate safety fueling controversy. Parole granted, but with conditions. No contact with problematic influences. Jake's choice crystallized. Break rules again, or conform? Freedom tasted bittersweet as Jake stepped out of Ironwood's gates, the California sun blinding after years in dim cells. He glanced back, knowing Alex had 18 months left, a chasm that felt insurmountable. "Wait for me," Alex had whispered during their last visit, eyes pleading. Jake nodded, but doubt gnawed. Could love survive the real world, with its own prisons of prejudice? Jake crashed with an old acquaintance in Los Angeles, a city pulsing with life yet indifferent to his struggles. Job hunts were futile, ex-con status slammed doors. He thought of Alex constantly, replaying their conversations, the way Alex's laugh cut through the despair. Letters became lifelines. "The yard feels empty without you," Alex wrote. Jake replied, "I'm building something for us. Hold on." But society intruded. Jake's parole officer, a stern woman named Reyes, scrutinized his every move. "No associations with current inmates," she warned, eyeing his mail. Jake lied about the letters, a small rebellion that echoed his prison defiance. Meanwhile, news headlines screamed controversy. Prison reform bills debating protections for LGBTQ inmates, with conservatives arguing it promoted deviance. Jake seethed, seeing Alex's face in every story. Alex, inside, faced intensified harassment without Jake's shield. Ruiz gloated, "Your night's gone. Who's the female now?" Alex stood taller, inspired by Jake's courage. He joined an inmate support group, sharing his story, sparking debates among participants. "Love isn't a crime," he argued, his voice gaining strength. One guy, closeted and terrified, confided, "You're brave. Makes me think." But others scoffed, reinforcing the toxic masculinity that permeated the walls. External conflicts arose when Jake sought advocacy. He contacted a LGBTQ rights organization, recounting their tale anonymously. "It's not just about us. It's the system," he said. The advocate, Mia, listened intently. "Stories like yours fuel change, but they're risky. Publicity could violate parole." Jake weighed it. Silence or spotlight? He chose the latter, contributing to a podcast episode on prison queer experiences, his voice disguised. The episode aired, stirring online buzz. Comments ranged from supportive, "Love wins," to vitriolic, "They deserve what they get." Jake's identity leaked somehow, and Reyes summoned him. "This borders on incitement," she barked. "One more slip, you're back inside." Jake's defiance flared. "I'm speaking truth. Isn't that rehabilitation?" Alex heard snippets via radio in the common area, his heart swelling with pride. "He's fighting for us," he told Marcus. But fear crept in. What if it backfired? A letter arrived. "I did it for you. For all of us." Alex replied, "Be careful. I need you out there." Drama peaked when Ruiz, fueled by resentment, filed a complaint alleging Jake had corrupted the prison environment. It reached the parole board, triggering a review. Jake panicked, visions of returning haunting him. He met Mia in a coffee shop. "How do I protect him without losing everything?" She advised, "Document everything. Build a case." Meanwhile, Alex faced an internal review for disruptive behavior, code for challenging norms in group sessions. The warden, a relic of old-school corrections, lectured, "This isn't a dating service." Alex retorted, "It's about humanity." Solitary loomed again, isolation amplifying his longing. Jake's review hearing was a battlefield. Witnesses via video, including a reluctant Marcus praising Jake's growth. Ruiz appeared, spewing lies. "He started fights over that queer." Jake countered calmly, "I stopped violence. Love isn't weakness. It's strength." The board probed, "Define your relationship." Jake hesitated. Then, "He's my partner, and I'd break rules again to save him." Gasps echoed. Reyes objected, but Mia submitted affidavits from advocates, highlighting systemic issues. The board adjourned, leaving Jake in limbo. Alex, released from review with a warning, wrote feverishly, "Whatever happens, you changed me." Jake clung to those words. As months passed, Jake secured a warehouse job, saving for Alex's release. He attended rallies, his voice growing bolder against anti-LGBT policies. "Prisons mirror society," he told crowds. "We lock away differences instead of embracing them." A breakthrough. The board upheld parole, citing personal growth. Jake wept alone, relief mingling with resolve. But twists remained. Alex's family resurfaced. His sister visited, conflicted. "Jake sounds good, but is it worth the fight?" Alex affirmed, "Yes, he's my rule breaker." Society's debates raged. Bills passed protecting queer inmates, inspired partly by stories like theirs. Yet backlash persisted, with protests claiming moral decay. Jake visited Alex during approved hours, their eyes meeting through glass. "Soon," Jake promised. The day of Alex's release dawned crisp and clear, the ironwood gates swinging open like a long-awaited exhale. Jake waited outside, leaning against a beat-up truck, his heart hammering. When Alex emerged, blinking at the sunlight, they embraced fiercely. No words needed, just the solid reality of freedom. "Let's get out of here," Jake murmured. And they drove toward Los Angeles, the desert landscape blurring into promise. But reintegration was no fairy tale. Alex crashed on Jake's couch in a cramped apartment, job searches mirroring Jake's earlier struggles. Ex-con and gay? Double strike. Alex joked bitterly during interviews. Jake's job provided stability, but tensions simmered. Jake's lingering prison habits, like hypervigilance, clashed with Alex's need for openness. "You don't have to protect me anymore," Alex said one night, after Jake snapped at a stranger's stare. Jake sighed, "Old habits. I broke rules for you once. It's hard to stop." Social conflicts erupted anew. At a support group for ex-inmates, they shared their story, inspiring some but alienating others. "You make it sound romantic," one guy scoffed. "Prison love doesn't last out here." Jake bristled. "Ours will." But doubt seeded, bills piled, arguments flared over money. Alex landed a barista gig, but homophobic customers echoed prison jeers. "Ferry boy making coffee?" He came home drained, collapsing into Jake's arms. Family added layers. Alex's sister invited them for dinner, a tentative olive branch. "I'm trying to understand," she said, eyeing Jake warily. His presence stirred old wounds. Her husband's conservative views clashed. Two men? Unnatural. Dinner devolved into debate. "Love isn't a choice," Alex argued. "Society makes it hard." Jake added, "We fought worse in prison. They left early, the air thick with unresolved tension." Jake's past resurfaced when his brother, now a cop in Detroit, called unexpectedly. "Heard about your boyfriend." Dad would roll in his grave. Jake's voice shook. "Maybe he should. I won't hide anymore." The call ended in silence, but it unlocked Jake's buried grief. Years of suppressing identity for approval. "I broke rules for you," he told Alex, "but I'm still breaking them for myself." Controversy peaked when their story went viral via Mia's organization. A blog post detailed the prison romance defying odds, sparking media frenzy. Interviews followed, CNN, local news, thrusting them into the spotlight. Supporters cheered, heroes for visibility. Detractors attacked, glorifying criminals. Online trolls targeted Alex. "Still a female to me." He scrolled comments, tears falling. "Why can't they see us as people?" Jake proposed action. "Let's speak at events. Turn pain into change." Alex hesitated. "It could ruin us." But they did. A panel on LGBTQ rights in prisons. Questions flew. Was it worth the risk? Jake, every scar. Alex, it humanized us. Applause mingled with boos, mirroring society's divide. Personal drama intensified. Jake's job faced backlash. Coworkers whispered. Boss hinted at distractions. Alex's mental health waned. Nightmares of prison harassment plagued him. Therapy helped, but sessions unearthed traumas. "I was called female to break me," Alex confessed. Jake held him. "You're my equal. Always." A crisis hit when Ruiz, paroled early, tracked them down. A threatening message. "You think it's over?" Panic ensued. Police reports, restraining orders. Jake wanted confrontation. "End this." Alex urged caution. "We're better than that." The standoff culminated in a mediated meeting. Ruiz spewing hate. "You corrupted Harlan." Jake countered. "No, I found myself." Ruiz backed down, but the encounter left scars. Healing came slowly. They moved to San Francisco, a haven of acceptance. Jake started a nonprofit for ex-inmate support, Alex joining as advocate. Their bond strengthened through trials. Anniversaries celebrated quietly, dreams shared under stars. Yet questions lingered. At a rally, Alex spoke. "Society labels us, but we define ourselves." Cheers erupted, but backlash followed. A conservative pundit debated, "Does prison romance promote agenda?" In quiet moments, they reflected. "Did we break too many rules?" Jake asked. Alex smiled. "Just enough." As years passed, their story inspired legislation, better protections in prisons. But controversies persisted. Was their love a triumph or a cautionary tale? Their San Francisco life settled into a rhythm, the city's fog mirroring the lingering haze of their past. Jake's nonprofit thrived, helping others navigate re-entry, while Alex pursued writing, chronicling queer prison experiences in a blog that gained traction. "Your words matter," Jake said, reading a draft. Alex blushed. "Inspired by you." But success bred envy. Anonymous threats echoed Ruiz's grudge, reminding them vulnerability never fully faded. Social debates amplified. A Supreme Court case on LGBTQ rights cited their story as precedent, sparking national discourse. Proponents hailed, "Proof love transcends bars." Opponents argued, "Undermines traditional values." Jake testified remotely, "We didn't choose this path. Society forced it." Alex watched, proud yet anxious. What if it backfires? Personal choices tested them. Adoption discussions arose. Wanting a family, but barriers loomed for ex-cons. "Are we ready?" Alex wondered. Jake, "With you, yes." Applications revealed biases. Agencies hesitant, citing unconventional background. Rejection stung. They see us as risks, Alex vented. Jake's resolve hardened. We'll fight, like always. Family reconciliation attempted. Alex's sister hosted Thanksgiving, her husband absent. He's coming around, she lied gently. Conversations flowed, but undercurrents remained, subtle judgments on their lifestyle. Jake's brother surprised with a visit. I was wrong. Dad messed us up. Tears shed, bridges mended tentatively. Drama crested when a documentary filmmaker approached. Your story could change minds. They agreed, filming raw interviews. Release ignited firestorm. Praise from festivals. Bans in conservative states. Protests outside screenings. Don't normalize this. Counter-protests. Love is love. Jake and Alex attended premieres. Hand in hand. This is us. Internally, strains emerged. Jake's workaholism distanced him. Alex felt neglected. You're always saving others, Alex accused. Jake, because I couldn't save myself before you. Therapy bridged gaps, uncovering Jake's fear of abandonment, Alex's insecurity from labels. A pivotal moment. Ruiz's apology letter years late. I was scared of what you represented. Jake forgave. We all were. Alex struggled. He hurt us. Closure came gradually. Their influence grew, books, speeches, policy changes. Yet, at a quiet dinner, Alex asked, was it all worth it? Jake, every rule broken. As the story closes, they stand on a beach, waves crashing. The dream realized. Society evolves, but debates rage. Progress or peril? Is it true that breaking societal rules for love ultimately strengthens or weakens the individuals involved?